Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for the third in our series of monthly Tech Tuesday classes. Today, again, with our instructor, Jeffrey, Mr. Tech Raskin. And he's today going to be talking about cybercrime and security for realtors. So thank you for joining us. Go ahead, Jeffrey.
Absolutely. I appreciate it. And do you want to go ahead and allow me to share my screen?
Sure, I'm sorry.
Yeah. If you make me a co-host, then it will go ahead and it'll allow me to do that.
I think I got it now.
Okay. Oh, there we go. You did get it. Absolutely. So I appreciate that. Good
Thank you
deal.
for your patience.
No, absolutely. Hey, good morning, everybody. My name is Jeff Raskin. Just to briefly introduce myself, I'm a fellow realtor. I do exactly what you do on a daily basis, which is to buy and sell homes. And I've been doing that for 21 years now, proudly wearing my my realtor t-shirt there. There we go, my realtor t-shirt. Perfect. So anyways, 21 years in the business. I'm GRI E-Pro certified, Zip Form, DocuSign, RPR, E-Pro instructor. Anything that deals with real estate and real estate technology is what I've been teaching my fellow agents for the last 16 years. And I just love Arcadia Association of Realtors, not only for bringing this to you, but of course, wonderful members and of course staff up there. So thank you for being here today. And once again, thank you to Arcadia Association of Realtors for having me on here to show you about some kick butt information that we absolutely need to be sure that we're staying safe out there. So I have to tell you once again, 16 years as a real estate technology instructor. I got hacked 2 weeks ago. I'm not embarrassed to admit it. Well, maybe a little bit, right? But here's the thing. It happens to the best of us, everybody. And I'm super, super, super secure and safe. At least I thought so, until the bad guys go, nope, we're going to get you. So here's the thing, everybody. We need to go ahead and keep our stuff in a safe environment. And it's not just for us, it's for our clients as well. Remember, there are many rules, and not only through NAR, not only through CAR, California Association of Realtors, but I'm talking about literally state laws that actually talk about how you need to go ahead and keep your clients' information safe, not to mention NAR rules that talk about this in the 17 articles in the Code of Ethics. But here's the thing, there are actual laws surrounding this saying that if you do get breached, how you have to go ahead and tell the consumer and what you need to do. So there's a lot of laws that we need to follow. Now, right off the bat, how do we actually get breached? What happens, Jeff? I do everything that I possibly can to go ahead and stay safe out there until we get our emails, right? Let's go through some of these emails. So hopefully everybody can see my screen. Let me know if you aren't able to see it, but let's talk about this really quick. So I guess first question is fake or not? This is coming from UPS. I mean, has the UPS logo. It has the UPS as a tracking number. Yeah, right? How about this one? Camila Luna wants to share a file with you. How about USAA? Well, I mean, come on, yeah. Well, wait, no, I was never in the military and I definitely don't belong to USA. I could go on and on and on. And it's not just the old school ones, right? Hi, you know what? My name is Queen Mufaki Laki from Africa, and my husband, King Muki Muki Laki Laki, just died and left me with $10 billion. Can I send it over to you? That's the old school way. They're a lot smarter than this, right? Somehow or another, they know that I'm in real estate. I don't know how, but I get this from First American Title. And I'm like, oh, wow, Brent Hawker, escrow officer, right, with First American Title in Houston, Texas. Well, I'm not in Houston, Texas. So yeah, I'm a little bit leery of that. And First American Title, pretty big title agency here in the United States, but it's coming from Brent at Hawker Real Estate. yeah, that's probably not right for some reason or another. I doubt if that is correct. And it gets harder and harder and harder when you look at it. And sometimes you're like, oh my gosh, it looks legit. It's from Geico, right? I don't have Geico insurance. Or I look at Amazon. Oh my gosh, did I just order this for 892? Let's see if I can say my numbers, $898.52. Oh my gosh, I didn't do it. I need to manage my order. Boom. And there's my virus. I have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of emails. Amazon, Google, you name it. I have it, everybody, because we've all received these emails. And no matter what precautions you take, right? You're like, well, Jeff, I stay really, really, really safe out there, right? I actually do what? I actually do a two-step verification, which, by the way, will definitely keep you safer, right? I use a password manager like LastPass. And by the way, if you use LastPass or Apple Keys or RoboForm or one of the tons of different programs that are out there, this is all fine and dandy. But does everybody understand that if everybody or if somebody gets your LastPass password or your Apple Keys password or your RoboForm password, guess what? They're able to see literally everything. Does that make sense? Because now it only takes one password. And once you put in the one password, guess what? Now it literally unlocks the door, right? It unlocks the door. And by the way, don't necessarily save your passwords, everybody, right? Be careful with that. But now that I have this in here, oops, let's see if I can type my own password, right? So I'm going to come over here. And once I do this, now what happens? It just unlocks the door to everything because all the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of different websites that I've been through, DocuSign, right? That First American one, right? MLS, Google, right? Anything that I've ever done to is now stored in here. If they get access to the house, well, you know the rest. And no matter what you do, it can become harder and harder. How about this one? You go try to find tickets, right? You go try to find tickets for a play or a movie or whatever. And you go in here and I put in Hamilton. I want to go see Hamilton. So I go ahead and I put it, and guess what I get? I get a bunch of different places to buy Hamilton, right? But when I click on it, let's click at ticket sales. You're like, oh, well, it must be ticket sales, obviously, not a problem or whatever. But then you start to look really carefully at this, right? And ticket sales is a trusted secondary marketplace. Prices set by sellers may be above or below face value. I have a weird feeling it's not below face value, right? And so you can see up here, it actually disclosed it, but not all of them are that nice, right? There's a lot of people out there who will actually go into what? To go download a driver, right? So they go to HP and you go, well, let me go to Hewlett Packard, or let me go to the Brother website, or let me go to the Xerox website, and you put in HP drivers, and what happens? You're going to get everything except for HP, right? You're going to get a bunch of different places to go ahead and download these drivers. Now, HP might come up because they've done a good job in the last few years, but there are a lot of different places to find this, right? There's EN Soft Onic, and there's Driver's Guide, and there's Driver's Easy. And the problem is that if I download this stuff, well, the rest is history. You know what can happen there. There's so many different places you can go ahead and get hacked. And even if you try your password, so I don't know if you've tried this or not. And by the way, there's nothing to download. So let me go ahead and give you this website because it's kind of fun and it tells you a little bit about what's going on. But you come over here and you enter your password. Now watch this. If I put in my password, because a lot of people have password as their password, right? Well, your password could be cracked instantly. It's instant, everybody. And if I put in password with a capital P, right? Okay, it's going to take 22 minutes. If I put in 2021, okay, it adds a little bit of time to it, right? But even at that, I doubt that it's actually 2000 years. There are computers, supercomputers that are running in the background all the time trying to break the code. And that's kind of what it comes down to. So there's a lot of different ways you could get hacked, everybody. Let me show you some different things you could do so that that doesn't happen. Okay. Even down to the browser that you use. Somebody mentioned, well, I like DuckDuckGo. That's wonderful. So do I. I think it's a great way to go. And that's why I have different browsers, different things like that. And does everybody know that actually, this is kind of interesting. Does everybody know that supposedly, right? Let's go into cybercrime, that basically Google Chrome is going to what? They're going to phase out third-party cookies in Chrome, but not for 2 years. And by the way, that was last year, right? Most of the other ones, Firefox, have phased out cookies, so they say. But here's the problem, everybody, is that what do? You now have a smart home. And in your smart home, you have a Ring doorbell, and you have an Alexa, and you have an Amazon, and you have an Apple Play, and you have all these different devices. Well, does everybody know that Ring, and by the way, I have a Ring doorbell myself, but does everybody know that Ring, if you don't opt out of it, it actually shares your Wi-Fi with your neighbors in case their Wi-Fi goes out. It will automatically log onto your Wi-Fi. You are giving permission, whether you know it or not, that you actually are giving permission to your neighbors to use your Wi-Fi in case their door Wi-Fi goes out. And you're like, I don't know if I want that, right? So you can go ahead and opt out of it. But these companies do a lot of different things out there to get your information. Now, I'm not here to scare you. I'm just giving you the facts. And one of the facts is this. Let's take your phone. And I don't care what kind of phone you have, whether you have an iPhone or an Android phone, doesn't matter to me. But I want you to think about this for a second. When you don't download an app, what do most people fail to read? The what? The end user licensing agreement, the EULA, right? They're like, oh, well, I've seen that, but I'm not going to go read 10 pages. And that's fine and dandy, but don't complain when you look at it a little bit closer and you're like, wait, are you telling me that the Starbucks app actually does what? It actually goes, hey, you give us permission to look at all your other apps in your phone. Yeah, some of them do that. Oh, by the way, if you download a game, which I love games on my phone, right? I got Word, right? You got Doodle Jump, you got things like that. And it actually says in there, we are allowed to go in there and look at other games that you have and look at other scores that you've received. And the problem is that you're like, well, okay, so I guess they can do that. But the problem is when they get hacked. Does that make sense? We are trusting third-party companies with our information. And I'll give you a great one, DocuSign. Tell you, zip form, DocuSign, they work just perfectly together like peanut butter and jelly. And what happens? DocuSign got hacked. That's right. And now I'm getting emails that look legit. They feel legit. But what happens? It's actually a fake. Same thing with that LastPass. Remember I showed you that LastPass that had all my username and passwords in it? Well, guess what? They got hacked as well. And when they get hacked, well, anybody can get into literally anything they want. Bank accounts, things like that. So it gets a little bit crazy, everybody. So that's why you need to be careful out there. So let's go ahead and talk about how we can protect ourselves and to put this all together. I want to talk to you about the importance of data, privacy, and security, the technology and the human dimension. We're going to be talking about data security programs, managing a breach, and then online safety for you and your home. So I'm going to go over this pretty quick because I want to go ahead and maximize our time together here. But we need to be aware that you are aware of the possibility of a data breach, because there is a good chance in today's environment that you might get hacked. To relate the data privacy to the real estate business, that's going to be important because that's what we're all in. We're going to identify data spheres as well. Okay, let's talk about the actual data security, right? We need to identify the habits that create data privacy weak points. I've already discussed a lot of them with you, right? It's websites that we go to, it's the emails that we click on, it's the downloads, it's the executable files that we click on thinking that it is a printer driver from HP, yet it really isn't. And that's kind of what it comes down to, right? We're going to go ahead and we're going to identify common risk factors created by relationships with vendors and service providers. And I just told you, we're relying on ZipForm to make sure that they keep our information safe from the predators out there. Yet almost all of them has been hacked into. Target, right? Oh my gosh, Sony, right? If you went to go see a movie, or if you rented, right, they have your information. They got hacked into. Heck, what's happening out there? White House has been hacked into, the FBI has been hacked into. It's a little bit scary, everybody. So I just want to let you know. We're going to talk about how to create an actual data security program, right? To recognize the documents, technology, and concepts involving creating the data security plan. Describe a process involved in creating that plan, and then to apply the knowledge to the FTC's key principles and other practices to the development of the data privacy and security plans. Because like I said, there are laws that govern what we should be doing if we experience a data breach. We need to go ahead and actually learn the signs of actually having a data breach. You know, it's not like the movies, everybody, where, where somebody hacks into your computer and then all of a sudden it starts smoking, right? And oh my gosh, it doesn't work like that, right? What happens is that they break in and even just take it over your computer. Sometimes they don't even do that. What do? They infiltrate everything. They see your keystrokes. They see who you're emailing out to. They now know that you're in real estate and they're like, okay, let's just follow this pattern down the line. What happens? They go, let's see, just open escrow, right? Here's the RPA, right? There's the terms and conditions. Let's say they open it up with First American Title. I get it. And we're going down. We got the inspection period. Oh, we got the SPQs, and they keep on going down till about 10 days before. And what happens 10 days before? They get an email from you, not from Jeff and it's misspelled by one or two letters, although they could do that, from my actual email. And what does it actually say? It actually says, hey, by the way, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, I just want to let you know that First American Title, not promoting them, but they have basically changed the wiring instructions. And now you need to go ahead and just remit the rest of your monies over to this account, all $80,000 of it. Go ahead and let me know if you have any questions. I might be out showing homes. Boom. Escrow done. Life savings gone. Happens all the time, everybody. Wire fraud is a huge part of our business. You need to be careful out there. And think about that. Who's getting sued, right? Yeah, maybe title. Yeah, maybe the broker, but they're coming to you. They're coming to you as their agent saying, well, you were supposed to keep my information safe and things like that, right? We're going to be talking about how to go ahead and do this for not only in real estate, but just you in your home as well, for your kids and things like that. So let's go ahead and let's talk about how this actually works, right? The importance of data security. Now, this is pretty obvious how important it is, but you need to understand that the bedrock of everything is going to be confidentiality, right? It's really what it comes down to, and especially with real estate. Now, we're not a lender, right? Usually you are not taking any applications. You're not getting any social security numbers or anything like that. But you need to understand, we're like the bridge to everything. So we need to make sure that not only do we have this information, but we keep it in a secure and confidential file format. Actually, believe it or not, this is Article 9 of NAR that says we need to do this, right? And I'm sure in your local association or your state association, they have very, very similar laws and regulations. So we need to protect the client confidentiality, right? Because it does what? It protects you and your reputation. And that's going to be super duper important that you do that, right? Breaches happen every single day, right? 22.5 million per day, everybody. That breaks down to 937,500 per hour. That's 15,006 per minute. It's 260 per second. It happens every single day across the world. And those are some of the stats. And by the way, you go check it out. This isn't stats from last year, 2 years ago. We update these things, and there's a lot of breaches, everybody. I just want to let you know. So the biggest breach that we get are going to be accidental exposures, right? That's huge. It's 30% of the data exposures. And these accidental are going to be things like clicking on things that you shouldn't be clicking on. Or if you're in an organization using Wi-Fi in your broker's office, well, you're only going to be as safe as the what? As the weakest link, right? If you have somebody in your office that has downloaded a virus, well, it might just be sent throughout the network. And when it's sent throughout the network, it can infiltrate your network, and boom, you're done. It gets really, really scary because you're like, I didn't click on anything, but my coworker did. That's kind of what it comes down to. So you need to understand how to keep yourself safe and things like that. Okay. So once again, consumers believe that 1 in 4 companies handle their sensitive personal information responsibly. That's not a lot, right? 87% will go elsewhere if they don't trust the company. 85% willingness to share information depends on how much they trust the business. And then 8 in 10 think that they have lost control of how the personal information is being shared. Well, that only makes sense. Once again, we have these smart homes. And I'm not knocking smart homes. I'm a tech instructor, everybody, but you need to be careful about what's going on. And sometimes you can't even be careful, right? I mean, they learned that Nest, right? Nest thermostat, right? There was actually a microphone in there, right? They're learning, as they learned actually several years ago, that Alexa, if you really think that Alexa is only listening if you say, hi, Alexa, what's the weather today? No. Of course, Alexa is listening all the time. That's how it knows when you say, hi, Alexa, to wake up, right? Or hey, Google, or hey, Siri. It's listening all the time. How many people literally on your iPhone or your Android phone have said, your phone is here and you're just talking to somebody. You're like, oh, you know what? I'm thinking about going to Disneyland, right? This summer. Oh my gosh, I'm thinking about it as well. Great. Well, you know what? Maybe we'll get together. We'll put the kids together. We'll head off to Disneyland. Boom. You go into Google, and what do you see an ad for, everybody? Disneyland. You're like, boom, hey, 10% off, right? Take your plane trip over there. Take your whatever over there, right? Here's the Disney hotel. You're like, wait, we were just talking about that. How did it know, right? It's listening. It's listening. These are just factual things that are happening out there. And go, DuckDuckGo it, go Bing it, go Yahoo it, go Google it, right? Or just go YouTube it, and you're going to see a lot of different stories about how these things actually happen, right? Once again, 85% willingness to share information. There's some good stats there. Okay, so you need to think about how we're connected. And I want you to think about this, right? So you are in your house, right? And in your house, you have a safe in your house, right? And if you keep the safe locked, if you keep the windows locked, if you keep your door locked, if you keep the gate to your subdivision locked, you're going to be pretty safe, right? But what happens is, well, the gate to your subdivision is open. Are you still safe in your home with your safe in there? I think you're going to be okay. What happens if we unlock the front door? Well, okay, I mean, they could get in, but it might be a little bit hard to still get in the safe. Got it. I leave the windows open. Okay. I leave the combination to my safe right there on the safe. Yes, my parents did that. Yes, literally, their cleaning person came in and literally stole everything in the safe. It does happen, everybody. Seriously, it does. A little bit embarrassed to admit that, but I'm being honest, right? It happens, everybody. So here's the thing, we are layered with different security measures, right? We have different security measures on there. And I don't care what kind of computer you're using. You're like, well, Jeff, that only happens to PC. No, it doesn't, right? No, trust me, my IT guy calls me and he goes, Jeff, I got another Mac in here. Nothing wrong with Mac or PC. I'm just saying that if somebody really wants into your computer, they'll find a way to get in. If somebody really wants into your phone, trust me, they will find a way to get in because there's so many different ways. But the thing is, we have layers around us to keep us safe. And you need to think about some of the layers that we are talking about. I'm talking about things like, well, there's you. I'm talking about your real estate association, right? Well, think about what they control, or think about that they have control of your usually your MLS, right? So the multiple listing services runs through your local association. And what happens? Well, they have access to your username and passwords, your real estate business, right? Your colleagues and office staff. Once again, you're in an office, you're using their Wi-Fi, right? Other real estate professionals, they're sending you emails. What happens if they get hacked? Once again, and they send you an email that looks like it's from them, but it's really not. It's really a virus that will be released into your computer that's going to work in the background, that you're going to think everything is normal because once again, it's not going to smoke and blow up or anything like that. It's working in the background. It's doing its damage there, right? Your clients and your customers, the service providers. Think about how much we depend on Zipphone, which is run through California Association of Realtors, which actually licenses it from what? Out of Canada, right? It's a company called Lone Wolf Technologies out of Canada. So you can think about where that information, how it travels up through the stream to actually get there. And then, of course, your referral networks. But think about this. We have ransomware to protect us, right? But what about the bad people out there? The inside jobs, which, by the way, that also happened to my folks and their store. Somebody literally came in from the inside and did that. What about the phishing? We'll talk about that. Accidents, clicking on something you shouldn't have, and things like that. So there's a lot of things out there that we need to be aware of in terms of how we focus on our business. Let's go ahead and talk about this. So I'm going to come over here and talk about, right, how does your business receive information? What is the flow of information around your data spheres, right? What information is collected and why? And are you opening a door for that malicious intruder? So I want you to think about this. Real estate firms can collect and maintain the clients and transaction information they need for business. This is so important because now you're trusting your broker as well. And you're like, well, of course I'm going to trust my broker because that's what I do. Well, remember, if they get hacked into, you're like, well, Jeff, at what point can I control everything? Well, you can't do everything, but we're going to do the best that we can to make sure that you stay safe out there. So let's talk about, I'm going to go straight into creating a data plan, right? This is going to be important. So what we're going to talk about is how to create that actual data plan. And what you can do is we need to look at the type of the information that is collected and sources. How is the information received? Why the information is collected? How the information is used? How and where the information is stored? And then who has access to the collected information? When and how the information is destroyed? And what information is shared with service providers? Okay. A lot of you have seen my paperless office class, right? And if you haven't, I'm sure we're going to be doing it sooner or later. And what I'm always going to recommend to help with that information, everybody, is to make sure that it's in a secure and file format. Now, I always keep stuff in my computer as well as the cloud. And one of the storage clouds out there, actually, I'm going to talk about three, are going to be, for example, the Dropbox storage cloud, the OneDrive storage cloud, and the Google Drive storage cloud. Now, yes, is there another one? And there's iCloud, there's Box, there's a lot of different ones out there. But out of all those things that I showed you at the very beginning, I think what's super important is to go back to that two-step verification mode. If you do this, this is a wonderful place that will go ahead and verify you 2 times to make sure that you are who you are, instead of just having one password. Now it's verifying it with a second set of identifications. That can mean a text, that can mean your face, that can mean, whatever you want. So what I'm going to do, and let me show you how this works. This is pretty cool. I'm going to go into OneDrive, for example. So most of you have seen my systematic filing system. And in my systematic filing system, don't have time to go over it here today, but I go into real estate. Once I go into real estate, I have a choice between current, past, and potential. I go into current, it's buyers, leases, and sellers. I'm going to go into buyers. And then once I do this, I actually have a client, and her name, I'm going to put in Diana. And when I go into Diana, now I'm going to come over here, and we're writing an offer on 123 Main Street. And I have another one for, of course, these are going to be general buyer docs. Now, what I'm going to do over here is I'm going to be able to come over here and go into 123 Main Street. And every time I receive a piece of information for my client, well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag and drop it in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take every little document that I've received, right? The settlement statement, right? The HUD. And I'm going to simply drag and drop in there. Or I'm going to what? Every time I get and it doesn't matter what I get, my commission statement, I'm going to go ahead and put in the invoice from the home warranty and the loan status update. And all these things are going to be up there. You might know this. I can even come in here and I can put all my emails, right? So I can literally go ahead, and every time I get an email from my client, I can even drag and drop that over, which is pretty cool. Now, the point that I'm trying to show you in my systematic filing system is that if I have this, right, in my systematic filing system, which are going to be whatever cloud you choose to use, real estate client, current buyer, Diana, 123 Main Street, everything is there. Well, you're like, Jeff, how can I keep that safe? Well, the two-factor identification is going to be incredible, because what it allows me to do is it goes, look, if you keep this in here, watch what's going to happen when I pull this up. So I'm going to pull up my phone really quick, right? So I'm going to show you what it looks like. I'm going to put up my phone up here, and I just want to show you, this is pretty slick. So if somebody tries to go into my systematic filing system to actually look at my client's stuff, well, what I'm going to do now is it's actually going to come and look at my face. So here's what it looks like. This is kind of neat. So you're looking at a live view of my phone, right? I just want to tell you, I'm not, right? So there we go. So I'm going to look at a live view of my phone. Now watch this one. When I go ahead and somebody around the world tries to break into Diana's folder, well, guess what it's going to do? It's going to go, hey, guess what? And it happens, it works too fast. So it goes, hey, we need to approve your login. And you see up here on my iPhone or my Android phone, well, what it's going to do now is it's going to say, look, we want to make sure it's you. And when we actually do this, right, I'm going to bring up that Authenticator app again. And now what's going to happen is, let's see if I can spell today. There we go. And what's going to happen is it's going to go, hey, look at that, everybody. We just looked at your face. Do you actually approve this? And I'm going to be like, I approve it. Now remember, if a robber, if a bad guy had this, they would have to have not only this, but they would have to have my phone at the same time. And when I approve it, guess what? The vault instantly opens and it goes, and let's go. Oh, let me go in and recognize my face. So it's going to look at my face, going to recognize it, and boom, watch what happens. The vault opens. Love, love, love that. Does that make sense? So now with that two-factor authentication, right? Authentication, now it opens up that personal vault, and then they could go ahead and look at it. The chances of them having my face, having my phone, having whatever, yeah, that's going to be super duper hard to do that. I do that with everything. I do that with my bank account, right? I do that with my, you name it. I put in that. A little bit more of a pain in the butt, everybody. I get it. But think about this, you're super duper safe. So this is a great way to go when you have that. So the two-factor identification is going to be wonderful. Highly, highly recommend it. Now, I have my phone up. Let's talk about some other things that I'm going to recommend. So there is something out there when we go out, and we go out there to Starbucks or a coffee shop or whatever, or a hotel for that matter. And what do we actually do when we go into a coffee shop, everybody? We what? Log on to their Wi-Fi, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about how people at Starbucks and things like that can actually go ahead and put this together. So I'm going to go ahead and show you what this is and how this actually works. Take a look at this.
Welcome to the Hacksplaining video tutorial series. This video will demonstrate how insufficient encryption can make your users vulnerable to man-in-the-middle attacks. Transport Layer Security, TLS, is a cryptographic protocol that allows client-server applications to communicate across a network in a way designed to prevent eavesdropping and tampering. Website authors should ensure any sensitive communication is done over HTTPS, which makes use of the TLS protocol. Let's look at a real-world example of how hackers can take advantage of unencrypted communication through a man-in-the-middle attack. Mal is a hacker. Today is his day off from hacking, but he enjoys his job so much he's decided to do some recreational hacking. Mal takes his laptop to his favorite coffee shop, buys a coffee, and makes himself comfortable. The cafe has a free Wi-Fi for its caffeine-swilling patrons, so Mal knows a lot of people come here with laptops. Mal lays his trap by setting up his own Wi-Fi hotspot with an ambiguous name, hoping to trick people into using it. His hotspot proxies traffic through to the internet, but he also sets up a network sniffer so he can inspect any traffic as it passes through. Stan is a customer. He's had a hard day getting pwned at work and needs a coffee to unwind. He connects to a likely-looking hotspot, not knowing that Mal is watching his every move. Stan is perfectly safe when he visits sites that implement HTTPS. Everything except the domain of the site is encrypted in the HTTP packets. However, anytime Stan visits a site that doesn't use encryption, Mal can see the conversation. Mal happily starts recording unsecured credentials and other sensitive information. By the time Mal has finished his coffee, he has a whole file of hacked data. He disconnects his hotspot and heads out without anyone being any the wiser. Be sure to use HTTPS whenever transmitting any type of sensitive information. Click on the link to learn how to protect yourself or move on to the next video.
Good. So basically, there's two things that I'm going to recommend you do. One of them is going to be using and always use an HTTP. Let's go into zip form. We go into zip form every single day. I don't need to tell you this, right? As long as we're writing a contract. And the first thing that you see is up here, you see HTTPS. HTTPS. And so what's going to happen is that I'm going to be able to come up here And you need to make sure that you have this. So even if you do log on, and I'm going to use Starbucks for an example, if you log into a Starbucks hotspot, everybody, well, guess what? If it's not have that S on there, that means it's not secure. And once again, a Stan is in his example, man in the middle, he can set up his own Wi-Fi network, and unsuspecting people would go ahead and log into it because it is called Starbucks without the C. Like, well, okay, Starbucks guest, they log into it and now they can see everything you are doing. So that's why I'm going to recommend that not only are you need to make sure that you're on HTTPS, but number two, I'm going to highly recommend that you also not necessarily log in a Starbucks website, but use your own. So there's a couple of different ways you can use your own, and that's going to be either a jetpack. And most of you know that you can go down to Verizon, AT&T, Sprint, T-Mobile, whichever one you use. And basically you can buy a little device, and a little device going to cost anywhere from 10 to 20 bucks a month. And that will go ahead and emit your own Wi-Fi signal. So in other words, even if somebody is doing man in the middle, it doesn't matter because you're going to see the network, but you're not logging into Starbucks or Stan's network. You're logging into your own network called Verizon Hotspot or AT&T Hotspot or whatever the case may be. Now, nowadays, you don't even need a hotspot anymore, right? I'm sorry, you don't need a jetpack anymore because you can always use your phone. And your phone, once again, I don't care whether it's an iPhone or an Android phone, everybody, you can go ahead and make your own hotspot. So let me go ahead and bring back up my phone again. And in your iPhone or your Android phone, now you have the ability to go ahead and let me show you what it looks like. So I'm going to be able to come over here. And when I'm at Starbucks, instead of using their network, because what are you going to do? You're going to come over here and you're going to say, okay, let me get on my phone. Let me come over here. I'm going to go into all the networks in the area. And there's going to be a lot, right? So you're going to go, hey, what network should I log into? Well, here's the best part of it all. Did you know that if you make your own network, which you can do, it's going to cost you about 10 bucks a month. Now you can go ahead and make your own hotspot. So now that I put in my own hotspot, look what is going to happen over here in my computer. Now, guess what? It's going to come out and it might not.
Is he frozen or am I frozen?
Have the ability.
He's frozen.
I think he's changing his hotspot and it's messing him up.
That's right.
So if you have a question,
It looks like he fell off there.
Is anybody the co-host?
Oh, there we
Oh,
go.
there he is.
my bad. Okay, I apologize about that. So I was trying to show you my hotspot, but maybe it took over and there you go. But was everybody able to see the hotspot? Does that make sense? Right? So in other words, it used my phone's network and it took over. And then now, as you can see, now nobody's going to be able to break in. So that's one of the pieces of advice that I'm going to recommend is for you to go ahead and either use a jetpack or use your phone's hotspot here. And when you do that, you can make that happen. So HTTPS, your phone's hotspot and things like that. Now, talking about keeping yourself safe, I'm going to give you another little trick here. This is pretty cool. So has anybody heard of Google Alerts? This is all free, everybody. And what I want to let you know is that Google Alerts, which I will put into the, let's see, we're going to go ahead and put into the chat box. So let me go ahead and let me show my screen. Number one, there we go. Okay, so this is going to be called Google Alerts. And what Google Alerts does is how many people, right? You take a listing and all of a sudden you get calls on your home, your listing that was for sale, and you go, hey, I just saw something on Craigslist. I just saw something on Zillow. I just saw something that your home is for rent. Can you help me out with that? Well, if you've ever seen that, which I think we all have, Google Alerts is a great way to go. And what it allows you to do is it says, look, I want you to alert me about, and you put in what you want. So I put in my own name, right? So I put in Jeffrey Raskin, I put in Jeff Raskin, and then I started putting in my listings as well. And when I put in my listings, guess what? Every time anybody on the internet, anywhere, puts in that address, guess what? I'm going to be alerted to it. This is all 100% free. There's nothing for you to do. There's nothing for you to pay for, right? But if you go here, it will alert you about anything you want. And this right here, my friends, will do amazing things for you. So once again, it's called Google Alerts. You just put in whatever you want. So next, if I put in Arcadia, right, Association of Realtors, and what's going to happen is that I'm going to create an alert about it. And now when I do this, guess what? Every time something comes up with Arcadia Association of Realtors, I'm going to get alerted to it, which is pretty cool. Okay. Another way to keep you safe. So I do want to let you know that if you've never been here as well, NAR has some really good articles about this as well. And it talks about the data privacy and security. Now, I'm not going to go over everything, but what I want to let you know is that NAR does have a lot of information about the cybersecurity, right? It has different videos, but basically it talks about protecting yourself from business, from cyber fraud, security and privacy tools, best practices, and so forth and so on. Okay. So I want to give you that website in case you know it, recognizing spoof emails. We went over that, right? Cybersecurity best practices and during COVID and so forth and so on. Because remember, because of COVID, everybody being home, this has really triggered an onset of even more people hacking in. So I just want to let you know, okay? By the way, I just want to let you know that they do have something called cyber liability insurance. And that is something that you or your broker might want to look into, because keep in mind that your standard E&O insurance that I'm sure your broker carries usually does not cover cybersecurity, everybody, or cyber crime. So I just want to let you know that I would check with my broker about that one. Now, the other thing that I want to talk about is going to be called a VPN. And I don't know if you know what a VPN is or not, but it is a virtual private network. And what a VPN does is, and by the way, it's going to cost you anywhere from about 75 to $100 a year, probably right around there. And what it allows you to do is, instead of just logging onto the network, I'm not going to log onto my phone's network. I already know what's going to happen. But when I log on to a network, right, thinking that, well, somebody can track my IP address and they can look where I am and things like that. Well, a lot of people now are using a VPN network. And a virtual private network basically allows you to show the hacker that you're someplace that you're not. So what's going to happen is that it has not only a secure network, but basically it shows that you are in other parts of the world. And it's pretty cool. So if you've ever tried this, by the way, here's a little hack, which means a little trick, right? Is that if you ever want to go ahead and use a VPN with a Netflix or something like that, and you want to see Netflix, what it is in a different country, okay? So now you can go ahead and do that, and you can go to basically any country you want and get Netflix in that country, which is really cool. Because trust me, every country has their own titles of TV shows and movies in a country, and also the different translations as well. So anyways, you might want to look into what's called a VPN, which is a virtual private network. And this will also allow you to come over here and put that in. So once again, VPN connection establishes a secure connection between you and the internet. Via the VPN, all of your traffic is routed through an encrypted virtual tunnel. This disguises your IP address when you use the internet, making its location invisible to everybody. A VPN connection is also secure against external attacks. So that is another way for you to, look at different methods so that you don't get hacked. Everybody is through a VPN. It's kind of cool. Okay. Any questions so far? We okay with this stuff, right? So I want to let you know to going back on here. I took that off of there when I logged out, but let me go ahead and log back in. And so we talked a little bit about creating a data privacy plan, managing a data breach, how to discover a breach. Well, what I want to let you know is that when you do this, okay, so I'm going to come up here and I'm going to show you that if you have a breach, how do you know? Well, you can know by several different things. Slow internet or devices, that's a telltale sign of it. Locked out of accounts, right? I just saw that the other day. Pop up and redirect. This one I see all the time, everybody. And one of the ways that we see this are going to be called things called extensions. And whatever browser you use, whether it be, Chrome or Firefox or DuckDuckGo or whatever browser you use, you need Internet Explorer, Edge, Safari. There's always things called extensions. And the thing that extensions do, and by the way, if you don't know what extensions is, they're usually going to be up here in the upper right-hand corner. So I'm going to come up here and you'll see the different extensions up here, right? So you'd be like, hey, what is this? And what is this? And so forth and so on. Well, these are what are called extensions. And extensions are things that you downloaded or you think you downloaded, or maybe you didn't think it, right? And it puts it up there. So it's running in the background. So if you click on it, you can see what I am running, right? I'm running some called YouTube, and I'm just wondering YouTube videos and downloads, right? Or I'm running some called, ad block, or I'm running something called LastPass or Malwarebytes and so forth and so on. These are called extensions, everybody. And the problem with extensions is that most people don't check them out. And so what I'm going to recommend is for you, at least on a monthly basis, even better on a weekly basis, but for you to go in and basically go into whatever browser you are doing. I promise you, they all have them. Go into settings, look at the privacy and security. And what I would do is I would come in here and I would go into your different extensions. Now, when you go into the different extensions, everybody, you're going to come over here and you're going to see what you know and what you don't know. So the ad blocker, okay, Cisco WebEx extension, join WebEx meetings. Okay, I get it. I don't want it. So you can disable it. DuckDuckGo Privacy Essentials, LastPass, Malwarebytes, right, and so forth and so on. So you either have the ability to turn it off altogether or to totally remove it. And I want to let you know, I see all the time of agents who basically, they go, Jeff, when I go into Google or DuckDuckGo or wherever I go, it's taking me to some funky browser. And remember, these things, they look identical or almost identical to Google. So if I was to go into Google, right? Most of you have seen something like that. You're like, well, Jeff, of course I've seen something like that. Well, I'm telling you, there are extensions out there that maybe you don't know that you downloaded that basically it says the same thing. It says search. It might not say Google search, or maybe it'll say GOOGLE search. And what happens is that when you type it, you need to understand it isn't Google at all. It is going to a third party website where they can basically see what you're doing. So you need to be careful with extensions, which is why I want to bring up one more thing. A free program you can use out there, right, that everybody should have, I don't care what kind of computer that you have, is going to be called CCleaner. CCleaner. Now, I want to let you know it is 100% free. So I am not selling anything. I don't have any coupon codes for you. It has nothing to do with that. I just want to let you know that CCleaner, what it allows you to do is to go ahead and basically download it, and it will go over and do a cleaning up of basically everything. So if you've ever wondered where like, how come my computer is already filled up, and I can't download anything else? Well, you can do this here in CCleaner, and it will literally go through all of your extensions. It will go through all of the things where things are hidden as well. And you could do some pretty cool things there. So that's another one that I'm going to recommend. Okay. Now, remember, if you get an antivirus, right, which I'm also going to recommend, PC or Mac, right, I happen to use Malwarebytes. Now, once again, not promoting Malwarebytes, not promoting any company, no coupon codes, anything like that. But I want to let you know that don't start getting a bunch of different malware antivirus programs like Norton and McAfee and then malware and things like that, because they start to fight with each other. And when they do that, now it's going to slow down your computer more and more and more. So just be aware that that's going to be important there. Okay. So Malwarebytes is a great way to go. CCleaner is a great way to go. And, let me just show you a couple of other things. I know we only have an hour here, so let me see if I can get through just a little bit more of this and some of the main things, right? And the last thing is going to be the online safety for your home. So I just want to let you know, even though we're talking about real estate, make sure that you talk to your kids or your grandkids about what they do online. Keep in mind that a lot of robberies happen are because kids post about everything, right? They post where they're going to school. They post about the vacation, right, that they're on currently. It gives the bad guys a great opportunity to go ahead and say, look, everybody's gone. They're on family vacation, or maybe you're doing it, right? I know you all want to post all about your family vacation, but you might want to wait till you get back, because trust me, people are watching. And if you are not locking down your social media stuff, and I don't care what social media is, everybody, whether it be Facebook or Twitter or Snapchat or TikTok or Clubhouse, right? There's a lot of different ones out there, but just be careful. I would have that talk with your kids as to what they're doing. Creating secure passwords, right? Random combinations, letters with numbers and symbols is the best way to go, right? There's different methods of doing it. You could do an acronym, right? So in other words, you can say maybe all the people in your family. I don't know if you want to go that easy, but if you can say, hey, if I have, my wife, me, my kids, and I use the first letter, you could do that. Maybe do something a little harder, as well as make sure you put some symbols in there, uppercase and lowercase. Most companies out there will make you do that anyways, but if not, make sure you do that, because that is going to be super important. And though I'm guilty of it, not going in there every 6 months, you might want to change it every once in a while, because once again, I was just hacked a couple of weeks ago. And this is Mr. Tech that was doing it, right? So what I did is I was freaking out, and I'm like, I can't believe this happened to me. Changed everything and made sure I just double checked that everything was on a two security authentication that came into there. Okay. Are texts being monitored as well? I'm going to say in general, that's going to be a little bit harder to do, but can it be done? Well, think about this. Would everybody agree that if you have an iPhone and a Mac, what happens? It goes onto your computer. If you have a PC and an Android phone, you know that you can do the same thing. You can literally monitor your text from your phone onto your PC. If you didn't think that exists, it does. I just want to let you know. And once again, they're hackers that are looking at your computer, and so they can see your text. So just be careful with that. It is a little bit harder to see in your phone. I just want to let you know, but it is definitely possible. Remember, email wasn't designed to be particularly secure, right? Way back when, right? So it wasn't necessarily meant to do that. That's why you need to be careful. Every email passes through several servers, right? Your Gmail, right, goes through the Gmail server in different parts of the world to eventually get to you. Our own actions open the door for email shenanigans. We already know that. I showed you all the different emails from First American and UPS and Amazon and things like that. Almost all malware requires the user to take some action. There's usually no such thing as just sending an email and, oh my gosh, it looks like no. Looking at it will not initiate that virus to be spread. You need to do something. You need an action, which is going to be by clicking on it, right? And by the way, let me just show you those emails again. A great way to do this is if you get a hyperlink, which is everybody, right? Make sure that you hover over the hyperlink. Because if you hover over it, hopefully I can find one, right? If I hover over it, right? I'm just going to hover over her website, right? When I do this, notice what comes up, HTTP. Oh, by the way, notice it's not secure. It says HTTP. It doesn't say HTTPS. It just says HTTP and then www.joannecho.com. So at least I know I can get to her website, right? But once again, it's not secure, or now I see up here what is secure. So HTTPS. So I just want to let you know that I would hover over these things before clicking on anything. Please, please, please make sure you click on it. Okay. So anyways, just a couple of other things. Spoofing is going to be huge, right? Mobile phone scams, one ring ripoff. Remember when somebody calls you and they hang up? You're like, oh my gosh, I must have missed the phone call. You call them back and what? It's actually a number that actually charges for every minute. I've seen that before, right? Be careful who you're calling. Call spoofing is real. Bank account suspended. Oh my gosh, how many people have received the phone call? Hi, this is the IRS. You owe $5,000. We're going to come arrest you, right? We've all got those. Please be careful. And if, by the way, if you think that those are fake, I can't tell you how many people in my own sphere of everything that I just want to let you know that literally, and I know I need to get you off here, but literally everybody that people call me and go, Jeff, I had Microsoft call me up. I know you've all received the phone call, right? I don't care what kind of computer you have. Hi, this is Microsoft. It looks like your computer is running slow today because it looks like you got a virus. Oh my gosh, yes, Microsoft, we need to log on to your computer. You let them into your computer, they are the virus. We're just going to charge you $79 to go ahead and look at your computer. Oh my gosh, we found a virus. Let us remove it for you, right? It's only going to cost $399, $400, right? And we'll go in. Well, they are the virus, everybody. And people fall for it. I get called at least one time a week of somebody who fell for that, and they let them into the computer. Please, please, please do not do that. These are going to be called, phishing, PH. There's whale phishing. There's spear phishing. I don't have time to go into it, but just be careful with some of this stuff. Okay. Not going to go into the video right now. A couple of other things just to show you really quick, and I can send you some of these videos just to let you know. Okay. Interactive toys as well. Keep in mind that they are a new territory for hackers, everybody, right? Toy manufacturers can monetize registration information, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth connected devices. We talked about this. It's not just toys, they're toys for you, right? And once again, I'm talking about your Ring, I'm talking about your Amazon, I'm talking about your Alexa, I'm talking about your, you name it. These are toys, they're all Wi-Fi connected, and yeah, there's a lot of stories around there. Hackers can interact with kids. FBI warning to parents, right? They say, please watch what your kids are doing. The baby monitors, those can be hacked. Everybody, could you imagine a baby monitor where somebody can literally see your baby Or if you just had cameras in the house, they can literally see what's going on inside of the house. Many videos of that online, not a fun thing. So just be careful with those home cameras and what's going on there. Okay. And once again, these are videos from the Today Show. It talks about how literally people are looking into your kids' rooms. So just be careful with that. Okay. I don't have time to go in the video right now, but that's kind of what it is. Okay. Okay, let's go ahead and talk about some of your questions. Are our techs being monitored? Are we allowed to use some of your graphics presented today? Go for it, right? Should we use a third-party firewall in addition to Windows security? So it can't hurt unless the one that you use is slowing down your computer. That is going to be so important, everybody, because I see this all the time. I see people using, I've already discussed this, right? Several different things out there. And what happens? It's like your computer just works slower and slower and slower. And you're like, what the heck is going on? So be sure that you experiment with this, right? So that you know whether things are going to work or not. Okay. Everybody learn something here today? Okay. Hey, fellow agents, if you had any other questions, please let me know. There's my information. Oops. Oh yeah, by the way, I love this quote, right? Thought of the day, technology will not replace realtors, but realtors with technology will replace realtors without technology. Nothing to do with this, but anyways, if you had any other questions, there's my information. Once again, my name is Jeff Raskin to be exact. If you had any other questions, feel free to either text our office or call our office, right? You can always email me, or you can always go to our website. We have a gob of information there. Okay. Once again, I want to thank the Arcadia AAR Association of Realtors, and thank you for all being here today. And anything else to say?
Well, thank you, Jeff. And we look forward to next month's presentation. The first Tuesday of next month is September 7th, and that class will be about social media for real estate. So looking forward to that. Today was another great class. Thank you.
Good. I appreciate it. Have a great rest of your week, everybody, and be safe out there. Go sell lots of homes. Be safe. Bye-bye. Thank you.